Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, join it or something.
Hey everyone, Lucimus Prime here, so welcome to the next episode of my Mood in the sequel series. And guys, this we're going to be covering, guys, is for one of my favourite, sci-fi action movies of all time, based on a toy line by Hasbro. And this movie, guys, is for what is my favourite out of the movies directed by Michael Bay, which is none other than 2011's Transformers: Dark of the Moon. So yeah, So as a bit of a recap, guys, this movie is, of course, my favourite out of the movies directed by Michael Bay for Transformers. Although, of course, my personal favourite is Bumblebee. This will be my favourite of the movies which is directed by Michael Bay. And yeah, and in my opinion, guys, this movie right here is, of course, the true ending of the Transformers movies he's directed. So yeah, So as a bit of a summary of my opinion, guys, so the first movie I do really enjoy. It's definitely a great start to a franchise, really good strong start in my opinion, although I had a couple of nips which you can see in my review for it. The sequel, Revenge of Fallen, I thought it was weaker than the first movie, and probably in my opinion the second worst Transformers movie of all time for the live action territory, after, what I'm going to talk about in a moment, of course. But this movie, however, Dark of the Moon, in my opinion, was a major improvement over Revenge of Fallen, way better than it. And while it was in my opinion, it was really epic, and I really found memory of watching this because this was the first Transformers movie I ever saw in the cinema, and it was definitely really worth it. And because I watched it in IMAX, it was definitely really great to watch. I was definitely excited for it when I was a kid, and yeah, it was definitely really good to watch, in my opinion. And I'm going to talk about what I think in the sequels. In my opinion, it gave great closure to a franchise because in the final act to me, we of course get a really epic battle taking place in Chicago, which is really epic to watch. Definitely what I as a Transformers fan live for, because I live for the action, absolutely. And this movie had a lot of it. It was definitely really fun to watch. And now, sure, not the best Transformers movie of all time because I had issues with it. For example, I of course thought many human characters were unlikable, as I thought in the previous movies and in the later movies, yeah. Because in my opinion, the human characters aren't really that good, in my opinion, a vast majority of them. I also did not like how Ironhide was also killed really easily, considering he's supposed to be a weapon specialist who's a very tough warrior. Didn't like how he was killed really easily. And I also didn't like how Megatron was also quite underused and didn't really do much despite a very good voice performance by Hugo Weaving. But yeah, still though, no matter what, this will always be my favourite of the movies directed by Michael Bay. And in my opinion, it gave a very good closure because at the end of this movie, all of the enemies were defeated. So yeah, all the Decepticons were destroyed, and the main villain of the movie, Sentinel Prime, was by the great Leonard Nimoy, may rest in peace, and may he live long and prosper. Gave a great performance as Sentinel Prime, and yeah, he was also defeated, of course, by Optimus Prime, my favourite character of all time, my favourite voice actor of all time, Peter Cullen, and yeah. And in my opinion, it gave great closure because there was no sequel baiting whatsoever in this movie. And yeah, put it this way, guys, I wouldn't mind if he ended with the first movie, but of course, unfortunately, Michael Bay had other ideas because he included a scene at the end of the first movie when Starscream leaving and retreating to a lot more Decepticons, which was setting up the sequel. So yeah, that was deemed not to be. But this movie, in my opinion, had no sequel baiting whatsoever. Didn't give any hints to future movies or anything like that. So yeah, didn't tease anything. And yeah, in my opinion, this is where it truly ends. But that was unfortunately deemed not to be because this movie performed really well at the box office and it guaranteed sequels to be released. So the first of the sequels, so this movie, it grossed $1.124 billion worldwide, and it was at the time the highest grossing movie, the fifth highest grossing movie of all time, and the second highest grossing movie of 2011. And this, of course, guaranteed sequels. And the first sequel we got was 2014's Transformers: Age of Extinction. And yeah, I will admit, I do find it more watchable than Revenge of Fallen because, in my opinion, it has a way more likable protagonist being Cade Yeager. In my opinion, he's a way more likable character than Sam Witwicky because I hate Sam Witwicky, guys. I can't stand him. And also the very good human villain Harold Hattinger, played by Kelsey Grammer. And also Stanley Tucci as Joshua George, a very entertaining, quite funny character. And yeah. However, in my opinion, it's not necessarily a sequel, not a best Transformers movie of all time. I put it in 4th place in my ranking because of issues I have, such as, because, for example, I really hate Tessa, guys. Tessa's very annoying. And also features an actor I hate being TJ Miller in the movie as well, so yeah. And I also don't like how it undoes the great closure of this ending game to a franchise, because in this movie, guys, the Transformers, Autobots specifically, are made fugitives, and they're being hunted by the humans, and I personally didn't like that because, you know, the Transformers were heroes in this movie, they stopped the Decepticons from winning, and yeah. And I didn't like that at all, so yeah. Disappointing, really, so yeah. And of course, as a result, many Autobots were lost. For example, Ratchet and Leadfoot were both appeared to have been killed. Ratchet was certainly killed, but Leadfoot appeared to have been killed. We never confirmed his actual fate, but yeah, still. Yeah, I really did not like how this movie undid the happy ending of Dark Moon by making Transformers enemies to the humans, which the Autobots certainly are not, because they're supposed to be friendly, you know. And however, though, even though this movie received negative reviews from critics who criticised the runtime, performances, screenplay, and direction, and I'll definitely agree with, you know, the direction and the runtime, because this movie, in my opinion, dragged on pretty long, because it's 165 minutes long, you know, 15 minutes short of being 3 hours long, so yeah. Despite negative reviews, it was still box office success. It grossed over $1.4 billion worldwide on a $210 million budget, and it became the highest grossing movie in 2014, which shocked me, because in my opinion, there was way better movies of that year than this. Like, for example, Captain America Winter Soldier, for example, was in my opinion, much better, and also X-Men Days of Future Past was also much better as well, in my opinion. So because it grossed much more money, it guaranteed another sequel, and this sequel, guys, was absolute garbage. It was Transformers The Last Night, released in 2017, and I really hated this movie, guys. It was just absolute abomination. Easily, in my opinion, the worst Transformers movie of all time, and yeah, like, it was released and panned by critics upon release, became the worst review Transformers film in the series, and I'm not excited because I hated the movie. Like, you know, criticism was focused on the runtime, direction, narrative, lack of character developments, screenplay, cinematography, and the frequent format changes, and I definitely agree with all those criticisms, because this movie, in my opinion, dragged on way too long, and I hate how they undoes the Transformers themselves, because they didn't have very much screen time, especially Optimus Prime and Grimlock. They were both underused, especially Grimlock, because he was absolutely wasted. Compared to how epic was in Age of Extinction, he was absolutely wasted in this movie. And I'd say the only thing about the movie, guys, is Peter Cullen reprising his role as Optimus Prime and Frank Welker reprising his role as Megatron, and I think probably the whole voice cast for Transformers was actually good, but I just feel they had bad direction to work with, and also Steve Jablonsky's music was also good as well, in my opinion. In my opinion, his music is never a problem with me, just like Peter Cullen's Optimus, so yeah. And I hate how they also ruined Cade Yeager in this movie and made him a very unlikable, boring character compared to how good he was in Age of Extinction, and yeah, they really ruined him in this movie. I mean, as a fun fact, guys, Mark Wahlberg nearly declined to return for a sequel, but eventually he decided to return, but in my opinion, he shouldn't have returned, because this movie ruined Cade, in my opinion. And there's also countless plot holes everywhere, which make absolutely no sense and are absolutely ridiculous, and yeah, and it drags on way too long, and the cinematography is also pretty bad compared to the first three movies, because in my opinion, the first three movies have very impressive visuals and CGI, which have aged really well, but the cinematography in this movie is absolutely terrible, because the Transformers themselves look like toys. They don't even look like actual Transformers I've seen from the first few movies or Age of Extinction. And furthermore, as well, what you know how I mentioned about format changes? What I especially hated was how the aspect ratio was constantly changing throughout a movie, and it got really, really annoying how it just wouldn't stop changing. It did my head in. So I really hated that. And of course, as well, this movie had lots of sequel baiting, because it was setting up a sixth movie, you know, as well. And in my opinion, it totally mistreated Unicron as well. He was just there for like sequel baiting, and he wasn't even, you know, a proper villain. He was just reduced to being Earth with, you know, horns going all across the planet. And yeah, what absolute waste of a pretty cool Transformers villain right there. This movie, you know, was setting up sequels, but thankfully, however, guys, this movie bombed our box office. So, like, unlike Age of Extinction, which was the highest grossing movie of 2014, this movie bombed at a box office and was definitely very well deserved, because, in my opinion, it was rubbish. An absolute trash movie. And thankfully, a year after this, guys, we got a reboot, which was Bumblebee, my favourite Transformers movie of all time, which was way better than this. Way better. I'd rather see a sequel to that than, you know, a sequel to Darker Moon, definitely. Because in my opinion, Bumblebee deserves sequels. I'm definitely looking forward to Rise of the Beasts, hoping it'll be really good. And yeah, But in the context of Michael Bay's movies he directed, guys, in my opinion, the franchise truly ends with Darker Moon. That's how let's keep it. So, yeah. I regret watching The Last Night very much, and yeah, like, goodness me. It was like a massive disgrace to a franchise, guys. Absolutely sucked. And yeah, definitely deserved to bomb. Definitely deserved it. And yeah, whenever I do a rewatch marathon of the movies, guys, I'm only going to do a marathon of the first few movies. So, Transformers 2007, Revenge of Fall, even though I think it's the second worst, I think it has a reason to exist compared to Age of Extinction. And, of course, Darker Moon, my favourite out of Michael Bay's movies. I will not be rewatching Age of Extinction over Last Night, no way. I mean, the only time I rewatched them was when I rewatched them in preparation for the reviews I did last year. So, yeah, exactly. I'm not going to be watching them again, no way. I mean, I think Age of Extinction, and the last time I probably the only Transformers movies I refused to buy on DVD. So, yeah. I mean, I think I may have probably had Age of Extinction on DVDs as a present, but I think I've lost the DVD, so yeah, thank God for that. And I'm definitely not going to buy Last Night, no way at all. I will, however, purchase, like, Blu-rays of, like, the Michael Bay first few movies and Bumblebee in the future, but yeah. I, of course, own, Darker Moon on normal DVD, like on the first movie on DVD, yeah. I don't own Revenge of Fall or Bumblebee, but I will probably buy them on Blu-ray like all the other movies, so yeah, if I said I'd buy. And I'll stop with Darker Moon, guys, because that's where, in my opinion, the franchise truly ends. So, yeah. So, guys, this is me doing the next episode of Moody in the sequel series, and this one, of course, was for Transformers Darker Moon, my first out of Michael Bay's movies, be done with Transformers. So, you know the drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, leave your comments what you guys think of Transformers Darker Moon. Do you think it ends the Transformers franchise or not? I'd love to see what you guys think of this movie. Also, be sure to join Team Prime by subscribe for movies coming in the future. If you'd like to be a member, you can press 20 peace out or you can in the description. And till all are one.